Good afternoon, folks. This is RC Scott, and you are not. I am joined by my co-host Sako Tumi. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, neighbors. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as Cass Floyd. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and I'm also a gamer. And I combine all those things. If you are interested in videos that pertain to role-playing games and collaborative storytelling, I am retooling my YouTube to cater to collaborative storytelling specifically. And I might bring back marketing for authors. I don't know. But, you should drop by sometime. I would love to see you.
For sure. You already got a lot of hats going there. I'm also trying to do the same. For those who don't know, I write horror stories. I also, on the occasion, talk to musical people, whether it be DJs or musicians or singers, artists, whatnot. I'm also getting into blogging as well, also gaming, trying to put on new habits as well. And which brings me into the first topic of today would be blogging, in which you and I are now both Substack bloggers. You jumped ahead of me, even though I'm the one that started talking.
Newsletters. Not so much blogging, but newsletters.
I guess I associate both, the same. But yeah, newsletters, blogging, because after, I guess you could say peer pressure from other writers to get that going, to get my own following going, I started to do the same. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we started talking about it. Then, bam, you jumped on it because, you're on that. Unlike me, who was lazy and unmotivated. So would you like to talk about what you got going?
It took about a week for me to actually figure out Substack enough to where I could make my own blog posts.
A week? Like
I think I started it December 29th. And then I posted in January 15th.
Oh, I see what you mean. You already had like an account all set up. I had one for a while because I was following a couple of writers and I would read their newsletters, blogs, whatever. One of them being Chuck Palahniuk, but I was off the I can't even pronounce his name, but yeah. I was following him, but then I just stopped using that email and just fell off with it. And I reopened this, so maybe I'll resub. But yeah, for what I'm doing with mine being for one, I'm doing separate things, not just one repeating thing. I know some writers do newsletters talking about their works and blogs about the craft, all that jazz. Maybe in some posts, but I'm going to keep it open, just like I do with the streams, just like I do with a lot of things.
Okay.
I might talk about myself, might wax philosophical, might talk about weird things, might dig up weird stories to commentate about, or I might also troll my friend Richard Holiday, who's probably sleeping right now. Well, wait, it's about 6 p.m. in England. Whatever. That will be coming shortly, and also talking to some musicians, set up interviews, getting into the whole music journalism thing. There goes another hat. But let's get into the comments, shall we? First one being Mark Bernard. Yes, there was supposed to be roasting. I have been unproductive, but I have kind of fixed it a little bit because I do have one blog completed. So light roast, if anything. Told her to bring it on, and so far she has not brought it. And this man, your boos mean nothing, sir. I see what you cheer for. So, on your Substack, what should we be expecting as readers?
Well, it is basically, I tried doing this with my Patreon, but it wasn't working out. Hi, Adega. And I am going to put everything that I do, like all the pies that I have my thumbs in and stuff like that. I'm going to compile them in a weekly newsletter and let people know what I've been working on.
Hell yeah. Basically, what I'm doing, just different things, different way.
And why. That's a big point, is I talk about what I'm working on and the story that revolves around why I chose that project to work on. Like, there's a story for everything, right? So, yeah, I'll basically explain where I'm coming from with these projects and, like, my process regarding how I prioritize. And then, kind of like walk through what I did and why I did it. And so the first one was my introduction to Substack and who you inspired me to make an account, so I did. And yeah, it was about a week difference for me to figure out how to do a post and how to do a podcast and all of that stuff. So from now on, I'm going to do both a podcast version for the visually impaired, and I'm going to do a written version for the audibly impaired. So
That's awesome.
That's going my method.
I was gonna say, at least I'm branching this off of the music portion. I'm gonna do separate interviews, one written, for the blog, and the other I'm gonna do recording for YouTube, and maybe do like pre-recorded podcasts and have it separate for different things. Maybe like not the entire band or whatever. Maybe like a couple of them, or if everyone wants to jump on and do full panel, fine. That's play it by ear. Okay. Yeah, go off of that. But also with that, talk to them, and not only about what they're working on, whatever upcoming album tours, but like get deep into them, like what motivates them, what gets them going. Talk about the things that make them excited in life, or even a place, for them to vent. We're artists; we need to vent.
For sure.
What are you gonna say?
Sure. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but my second Substack is basically about the retooling of my channel and why I'm retooling it. Why the kinds of topics I'm going to discuss.
Cool.
There's a lot of why happening in my explanations.
Well, yeah, the whole explaining thing, I should probably work on that a little bit too. I guess when it comes to putting this whole thing together, never thought of why. It's just something I'm doing. I never stopped. Like, this seems like fun. Might as well attach it to this. Might as well put it here.
It is. Yeah, it is something that actually was brought to my attention regarding goal setting this year. Was figuring out the why you want to do this goal. Like, what is the impact it's going to have on your life? And yeah.
I think for me, it's just to, I guess, break out of the mundane 9-to-5 life, which, as a writer, good luck. That's probably why I'm doing a lot of this stuff, but also new habits, new things, and get out of your head a little bit. That's pretty much why I started writing in the first place. And also, what up to my friend DL Tillery? Thank you for joining and hitting that like button. Hope you're having a good day. I know I'm always streaming on Sunday. You got stuff going down. I promise one day I'll do a Saturday or get off for a weeknight. I swear.
Madam Tillery, are you going to be on that disco show tonight? Because I'm not, but I'm going to be there supporting you guys.
And shout out to my friend Gray here. Known her for quite a while
Hi,
now. She
Grace.
came over from my buddy Second Street Marvel channel. She loves the Star Wars, as we all do.
Me too. Yay! Star Wars.
You should see them her cosplay pictures. Awesome. I think Instagram. I don't know if she does anything on like Facebook with them.
I have a site dedicated to the wedding.
I've never been to cosplaying, but I have so many friends that do, and I admire it.
My lightsabers are on display behind the Japanese doll.
Are they Sith or Jedi?
Mine is Sith. Actually, it was supposed to be gold, but it looks awfully red. And then my husband is Jedi, and it's green.
Balance in the Force.
Oh,
no. Oh, yeah, show them about that.
Oh, yeah. So let's hang out together and watch the show. Because I was gathering that there are a healthy number of videos that involve roller skates. So I'm kind of hype about it.
Where's the show at?
It's free. It's going to be on Crowdcast.
Do you want to put a link in the chat?
On Facebook?
Or anybody who... Oh, okay.
I can try, actually.
I like new things.
Let me see if I can find it. Bunch of new people. Where's the link?
Must find the link. So it's like a Facebook Live. So
it's Crowdcast.
I've never heard of this.
Crowdcast is like a community where you can basically show your video and have all the spectators comment. It's private. So
it's like so many of those are popping up now, like Rumble, like, and that's supposed to be like an offshoot of kind of like a YouTube. I tried messing with the app and it was
Where's the goddamn link? Here it is. "44 people have checked in. So, if you want to see a bunch of belly dancers do disco dancing, I can't comment.
Will there be roller skates?
There will be roller skates.
I can't have a disco without roller skates.
Oh, of course. I'm subscribed to you, and yet it's not showing you. There it is.
I've been shadow banned. Oh no, great. Yeah. Oh yeah, show them the pictures. Well, I'm forgetting all this stuff. I'm still waking up, my bad.
So there's the link. Discolicious. Busted your knee. 6 months, haven't had a chance to do any cosplay or make any TikTok content. Oh my gosh.
No.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're concentrating on healing.
Gray's tough. She's a fighter. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to hurt myself anytime soon. Seems like people are hurting their legs recently. Actually, a guy at my work smashed his leg on one of the forklifts.
Oh,
Well, I mean, not to speak ill of the guy, but he was the most intelligent person in the world. Didn't really pay attention to what he was doing, and yeah, consequence. Yeah, it's one of those jobs, you know. A lot of heavy, dangerous material around. You got to be careful. Watch the people around you and assume they don't see you. You ride around in like big forklifts, like I am all day. Tons of blind spots, and not to mention people coming in there, you know, half awake, probably still drunk from the night before. You got to assume they're just going through zombies and just don't run them over.
nice. Me too.
Anything particular?
There's a oh god, what's the name of the fucking game? There are a couple characters that basically I look like the character. All I gotta do is repurple my hair and shave my sides and I'll be good. I hope today, because this is long for me. Like, you cannot see my skin and it's longer than my fingers are tall. So, it's time to shave my head.
See, I've always known you with like longer hair. So like when I saw a picture of you, I'm like, oh shit, she's hardcore. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
I
like
buzz the sides.
I would just shave my head because I've never been one in the style. You know, I remember for a while I would always like, you know, just comb it straight. But eventually I got tired of that. So like whenever it's looking, because when it gets long, it starts curling up. It's like, it's starting to look like crap. Hack it all off, wait for it to grow back. But as I get older, I kind of find that balance between almost clean cut but still kind of shaggy, and just let that, you know, ride. Jiu-jitsu class. Yeah, people get injured like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I know people who practice that, and that's one of the reasons why I do it. It's good. You learn a lot of discipline. You learn how to fight. But those first couple of years of learning, you get your ass handed to you every day, all day.
So, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was invented by a guy named Gracie.
Yep, the Grace family.
And, yep, turns out I know a Gracie.
Which one?
Like, she's a friend of mine. She is not a fighter, but she's Ken Gracie.
Oh, that's cool.
Her stage name is Ken Vegas, and like married to DC's premier belly dancer and graphic designer, and I wouldn't want to be like, if I was to have anybody like at my back during a tense situation, it would be Ken.
That whole family, like, I've been a fan of UFC since UFC 1 back in the 90s. Royce Gracie, monster is just one way of describing him. He's just like such a badass and so unassuming too. Like I remember seeing his first fight, like this little dude in this gi, what the hell is he gonna do? And got like at first you see him, as soon as he got him down on the ground, it's just over with. Like he choked him out with his own gi. And I started following him at that. Then the whole family, I started seeing all the underground matches with his one brother, Rickson Gracie. And like he's always been the one as I guess regarded as the best fighter out of the whole family. And yeah, that guy is an animal in his own. Like the whole family, man, yeah, big fan.
Yeah, the whole family. And it's a big family, yeah. Ken and Bella, exactly.
Oh, wrong one.
See, yeah, DL Tillery knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, did you know Ken was a Gracie? Yeah, she's like the token girl, and she's not like particularly feminine. Like, I don't know.
Probably knows how to throw a punch though.
Oh yeah,
Probably a nightmare on the ground. Choke you out with like one hand.
they're also kind of tall, so like they can be intimidating at first.
Yeah, I've
But
known
when
plenty.
you have something to geek out over, like, yeah, Ken is badass.
Yeah, I've known a few people that have. Well, they've never been in UFC, but like pride fight and stuff like that, and men and women, and yeah, they all have that that steeliness to them. They're good to have on your side, and they don't fuck around either. At least the ones I met.
Yes and no.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, it was kind of like repurposed, when you say, but it's like its own thing.
No. Like, judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like, judo would get you to the ground, but once you're on the ground, like, then it's jiu-jitsu.
Surrounded by fighters. Yes, I choose my company well. See, I grew up
too
with.
have been doing martial arts since I was 4.
I street fighting, boxing, some wrestling. Kind of grew from there because I started watching UFC. I'd learned a few Brazilian jiu-jitsu moves, a few things here and there. I did Shotokan karate for a while, but it just too sterile, too slow paced, and like I'm a freestyle fighter, not just that. All right, one strike, 1 point, back up. That was the old karate tournament days, and this is like before mixed martial arts was a thing. I would have been in heaven, like a kid right now, like wanting to learn the shit that I wanted to learn back then. Yeah, it was either boxing or karate. It was either boxing, like Shotokan, which is kind of like. You've seen the Karate Kid, it was based out of Okinawa, the same place, I guess Miyagi came from, all that shit. But and then there was Taekwondo, which is all defense.
No.
Well, from what I've seen.
No, Taekwondo is not all defense.
Like defense counter?
It's
like outside perspective. That's what I've seen people, with fighting styles.
Taekwondo is originally for women, which is why it's so leg centric. But all the practitioners of Taekwondo that I know are male, and I think Tang Soo is the male version. Excuse my belly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it can be very antagonistic. Like if someone comes in and with like a flurry of kicks, like, and then you're wondering why you're on the ground all of a sudden.
So, are all belly dancers trained fighters?
No.
Oh, that would be really
just
cool.
Just the two that are here.
That'd be a hilarious scenario. Belly dance event. Some guy acts full. All of a sudden, they all turn around and kick the shit out of them, just taking turns.
There are people who think belly dancers are exotic dancers. Not that you should act like that around exotic dancers either, but
no.
But there are men who think that women are toys, and sometimes they got to be put in their place.
Yeah, they do.
Like, only people who have permission can touch me. Period.
This is why if I ever had like a daughter or anything, I probably wouldn't let her leave the house without something at least stabby or shocky on her. But yeah, anyone touch you, don't even give them a chance. Blah, done. But yeah, some people like just because somebody is doing something provocative or erotic, they think especially as performance, they think that makes
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they can't separate art from artists.
It's actually why I left the BDSM scene.
Which I know very little about. I did look into that one.
The guy who.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what happened?
So, I am a sub, and I used to perform with a couple of female doms, and someone who ran the event got grabby, and I was like, for one, you did not ask my consent. You did not ask the consent from my dom, my sir. Oh yeah, don't you have a thing in 35 minutes?
Wow. Is that like a common thing in that world?
No. Consent is king.
No, I mean with people acting up like that.
That's that common.
Well, I know people that are into that, and I guess I have added interest, but not enough to start like digging all that. Like the closer I've looked into like shibari, that stuff looks kind of cool, but that's more of just the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know one thing. Like people are really ignorant of that scene. Like not ignorant, but like it's misunderstood. I guess because they think they read 50 Shades of Grey, and that's how the scene works.
No.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely toxic situation. It really upset the BDSM community.
Yeah, I read those books, and like even someone that's not into that was an abusive relationship. At least from my point of view.
I need to see this video.
Well, hello, Richard. How are you? What up, Adrian? Do I have him as a mod on there, Adrian? If you want to post your link to your stream starting soon, go right for it, man. Which I will be joining, and yeah, here you know what, Richard, I will actually give you a wrench as well because that's the kind of guy I am. But yeah, in case you guys were wondering, I will be on a stream after this, talking about book formatting. I think.
Nice.
You got anything to say about book formatting, Sako?
I format books like for money.
I have to learn how to do the formatting to Kindle. Last time I did let the editor do it because I was working and didn't feel up to it. Is that like a pain in the ass, or is it like do they walk you through it?
Do those who walk you through?
Well, like the steps to like doing the Kindle Direct formatting with your story.
I do it all at once. So because also DL Tillery, you are amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
Super amazing. I will
You have been
totally
invited.
join your talk.
All
Yeah,
right.
send me a link, Adrian.
And
I'll be
yes,
there.
reading these books, I was making tons of jokes about this reference. Inner goddess. Oh God. Hey man, like if people love that stuff. It made her rich. She, whatever. Fine. Doesn't affect me. But yeah, I just hope people don't read that shit then try to repeat it in real life and think it's normal. But you already know that happened.
It's a podcast recording, not a stream, so y'all don't gotta come to nothing. You can email it to me, or you can send it over Insta, or you can send however you're comfortable with. And you can find me at psychosako@gmail.
And that's at 1 p.m. Central, I believe, Adrian, if I'm mistaken. So yeah, I will be showing up late, as usual. Because we didn't talk about this beforehand when I was sitting on my stream.
Yay, thank you, Adrian. Ooh.
Nice. I'll be watching that later at night. But yeah, Shibari's kind of cool. Otherwise, I'm kind of ignorant. Other than what I've seen in like Exit to Eden. And I meant to read that book, but I saw the movie.
No, there are a lot of nuances and social contracts, and some that are actually written and some that are just spoken. Consent is discussed before any scenes happen.
Well,
like, these are my boundaries. Don't cross any of those. This is my safe word, so if you cross a boundary, I'm going to use that word.
Yeah, I know about all that. I guess probably because I just never been with anybody that was into that scene. I met a couple of them that either there was either the girls I dated were either straight vanilla or all talk. So
all
like,
talk,
yeah. It never went anywhere, so I just kind of let it go. And at the same time, like, I've brought. Go ahead. Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I've talked about it to a couple of people, and they're like, "You go like to a convention or like meet people." I'm like, I am not fucking doing that. That is so embarrassing. I guess there are limits to my lack of shame, my shamelessness.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be too awkward, or maybe I was just like overthinking it.
You might be overthinking it.
I do that sometimes.
Okay, cool. Books by Adrian. Hooray!
Oh.
There's no link.
All right, Gray. Thanks for coming by. Like always, you are awesome. Text me later, yo.
Okay, there's the link. Thank you. I will be there.
Awesome. More of the talking.
I will totally talk shop.
I need to do that more. You notice I never do that in any of my streams. That's because, I just know how to operate. Ever since the coming off tubes was the first time I ever hung around with any writers. Otherwise, it's just been me and my own little world. Like you were talking earlier about the way my diction, how it comes off as like, different types, like not exactly proper English. It's something I would never have noticed.
Venetian and German and Japanese and it's like like fan subs.
Well, yeah, something I never would have known about until I started hanging out with more literary people. Because before I was hanging out with, musicians, street performers, and all types of freaks of the night. We didn't exactly look at each other's prose. So, like, I noticed it right away because people would say, like, you got a really raw, stripped way of writing. I'm like, well, a lot of people I read like to dress their stuff up. I immediately started working on that. It's been a slow process because, yeah, I don't know, being raw for so long kind of weird, feels weird putting on clothing.
That's really cool. I know
Go.
I practice reading and writing and history and stuff like that at home, and math and other stuff like at school.
I did not. Every night
I do a
homework
lot
was a
of
chore,
yeah.
unless it was a subject that interests me. Then all of a sudden I get
Well,
home, do it
sure.
right away. I get home, do it right away. Then spend the rest of my night relaxing instead of putting it off till right before bed, and I'm tired and I don't want to do it, and I end up doing a half-ass and usually get a 0.
Yeah,
You see a pattern going here? But
I get it.
well, I've said before, like even with reading, I didn't get really into it until I was a little older. Aside from comic books, like even reading in school, like they would force us to read books like Hatchet, The Hobbit, like the Lord of the Rings, and like I would read in class and like enjoy the story, but like as soon as I get out of there and I'm not forced to do it, my mind wanders. Fuck, good luck. Unless it's like
Mhm.
it's written in a way that keeps your like Goosebumps. Those books are written to at least keep your attention on the page and didn't go into a tangent about the landscape or the buttresses on this castle.
You know what? I am reading a book right now called Blood something or other, Bloodshot or something like that. Um, and it's written like a Goosebumps book. It, it's very fast moving. Um, it always gets to the point, like in a concise amount of time.
Right.
And I'm I'm about 5 chapters in, and after 1 hour of reading, and I'm digging it. It's a
Nice.
tank of a book, but like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, but if it's a fast pace, blow right through it. Um, I was gonna say with Gray here, I mentioned being a fighter. Like she has her story, and one I'm not gonna talk about, but I've heard it, and if she ever wants to come on and talk about it one day, she's welcome to. It's it's a story. That's all I'm gonna say. Yep. Uh, wow.
Goth Christian, yeah.
I've met a
Hmm.
few, and like
Me too.
not everyone's a hardcore atheist in the goth scene.
Nope. I'm third generation Buddhist.
I come from a long line of Southern Baptists, and I don't do religion.
Most, yeah, most people who came from Catholicism or baptism or anything like that, most of the time they do not do religion when they grow up.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the whole political spectrum, wherever anarchist falls at, that's where I'm the closest.
All right. Bye, Gray.
Later's Gray. I meant what I said. If you ever want to come out here one time, I am down. I'll definitely chat some Star Wars with you too. May the force be with you, my friend. Whoa. So yeah, since you brought up BDSM, why the hell not?
Okay.
Um, is that like a natural predilection, or do you feel like it's like it grows on you? How does that work? Like the interests, or what? Like however the inclinations, I guess.
It depends on your relationship with your parents and what your sexual awakening was like. And some people who were sheltered, like, go headfirst into BDSM because it is exciting, and it was taboo when they were celibate and all of that jazz. And then you have people like me who like was super into the idea that like you talked about boundaries and consent and stuff before anything ever happened. Like you talked about what you like, you talked about what you don't like, and you shake on it and play.
Yeah, and there's always like a balance of power there, where control is. Yeah. I also noticed with people I've met in the scene, there seem to be a lot of the office types. The one, the
Mhm.
super bureaucratic, compartmentalized types where like they just, as soon as they get out of the office, you just got to unload somewhere and they, yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Hey, whatever lights your fire, my friends.
It's very cathartic, both for sadists and masochists.
I had first been introduced to it, like a lot of people from our generation, through the HBO series Real Sex. And they
Oh,
would
yeah.
show segments on BDSM. Well, I probably saw it way too young of an age. I'm like, why is she beating the shit out of that guy with that paddle? And I don't know what she's wearing, but it looks pretty cool. It looks like that people from Hellraiser.
Yeah. Came back to a spicy
Yeah.
topic. Yeah. Just for a few minutes more.
Red's back to the spice. Actually,
And now Adrian is very complicated. Yeah.
well, that's one I've noticed that about, what, like almost every mold of thinking, whether it be religion, in politics, or any kind of level, there's always some kind of like suppression there. Something you should be ashamed of yourself about. Most definitely religion, though.
You know what? Like, so I grew up Buddhist. Like, I was never Christian. I don't know what it's like. I have a frame of reference. So feeling guilt over my actions or whether I have done them or not, like that's not a thing in Buddhism. Like they just and don't say like there are sins, but like they don't call it as such. Like it's frowned upon to like um to be ignorant because it is being stupid but by your own fault. So like that's extremely frowned upon, but um you can drink, you can dance, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't do too much of anything.
And more of acceptance instead of guilt at your own nature. Uh, hold on a second.
Wow, Shannon.
You redheads are always trouble. She knew it's like you've been touched by the devil's fire. Yeah, I have had plenty of talks from family. Oh yeah, I got a Baptist uncle on both sides, are Baptist preachers. One in
Mhm.
Mississippi and one out in rural Indiana.
Oh my God.
So you can imagine the shit I've heard growing up, just off of one thing alone: the horror. Why you go watch some
Oh,
bloody
sure.
movies? The people dying, them horrible deaths, it's death, demonic. Like, cause it's cool.
My dad, um, for some reason, he didn't want me to watch To Wong Fu. Thanks for everything.
They're always hilarious.
Because until I was an adult, and I was like, why did you ban me from watching that? And he was like, I didn't want you to question your sexuality. I wanted you to come by it honestly. And I was like, oh, but it wouldn't have influenced my sexuality anyway. Like, that was a weird choice. His attitude was, I would much rather you watch people loving each other than fighting each other, than killing each other. And so, like, I watched porn when I was a kid, and I learned about sex very early.
Oh, I did too, but I had to sneak it. My parents
I
were the
did.
opposite.
My my parents got a book called "Sex: The Facts, the Acts, and Your Feelings." It's a big tome, and it taught me everything I needed to know about sex.
My parents didn't want to talk about it very often, and they would let me watch Faces of Death. But if something had a hardcore sex scene, get out of the room.
That's funny.
I don't know. I think to this day they just didn't want me getting too many thoughts about it because they didn't want me reproducing. They saw what was happening with me. No, the curse must not spread. But with them, it was kind of weird though. Like like I said, both sides ultra religious. My parents, to the core, weren't they weren't like Bible thumping about it, but they still had the Baptist values. But so that they let me watch shit like that. And I remember like being 9, 10, up late at night watching Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Hmm.
And for some reason, I mean, my parents, they're better now, but they did hold on to some older, outmoded values that are, well, I wouldn't call them values, but you know what I mean.
I know what you
Um,
mean.
she came in the room watching, and I kept expecting her to say something stupid. And she saw what I was watching, Rocky Horror, and she was like, "How about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, so you know this movie?" She's like, "I saw it in theaters." Okay, sat down and watched it with me.
Aw.
She got a little weird at the parts when Frankenfurter went from bedroom to bedroom, and then with
Right.
Rocky and Janet, yeah. But other than that, everything else was cool for some reason. But hey, you know what? People
Hmm.
are weird.
Well, I should head out if I'm going to make this stream. I have a couple of things I need to take care of before the next thing starts.
Um,
Thank
what
you
time do
so
you want
much
to
for
close?
having me on. I'm gonna go now.
Okay.
Um,
I guess since going to that next stream, I'll probably cut short right after you leave soon too. So you're gonna be on there when it starts or what?
mhm, yeah.
I can't guarantee I'll be there on time, but I will get there eventually. But
Okay.
thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace out. Now that we're alone, folks. See all the violence as a child, but no heavy kissing or nudity like dude. Yes, exactly. What was that shit about? I think maybe it had something to do with their generation, that suppressive nature. I mean, you think you had the 50s. I mean, there's some good music, some cool style, but otherwise it was pretty cornball. Then the sexual revolution of the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and then the 80s got a little more conservative, if anyone noticed, especially with the movies. But yeah, no sex, nudity, or violence. Man, I knew I had friends that were like that, and I'd invite them over, and like I'd put on even something light. I remember when I was in Cub Scouts. Yeah, I was in Cub Scouts, by the way. Would you guys believe that? I know how to tie knots and go camping. I had one friend over, and like his parents were like freaking beyond cleaver. And I put on Little Monsters. Have any of y'all ever watched that with Fred Savage and Howie Mandel? This kid pissed his pants at the beginning when the light hit Maurice and he started shrinking. I shit you not. And I'm ashamed to admit this, but when he did that, I'm like, get the fuck out of my house. Hey, you know what? I was 8. Whatever. Yes, my mother's father would have. Yeah. people are people. That's the one thing I've been, I've been trying to understand people, and I realize I've been wasting my time. Just they're unpredictable. You can't guess anybody at their true nature. And also, like, that's where a lot of that, that suppression is so bad. You gotta, even if it's like you gotta embrace your dark side. I mean, I think that's where a lot of these, violent people come from is, they suppress it or traumatic events. You got to realize, like a lot of things religion taught you, like you shouldn't give in to your inner, to your inner darkness, your sinner. Like that's who you are. And, if you're going to be sent to a place to burn for all eternity because a part of your nature, then yeah, okay, whatever you say. Well, you want to pop on for a minute? All right. Let me shoot you a link then. I guess this party's going to go for a little bit. I'm going to be a little bit later to that shindig, but hey, whatever. That's me. I'm pretty sure it'll go on just fine without my voice interrupting anything with its tangents. All right. I'm going to send you that link in the Facebook DM, Tillery. Sorry, DL, Tillery. Dead silence. Gotta fill the dead silence. Boom, you are invited. Welcome to the party, pal. Well, I mean, I guess unless you were watching like Cannibal Holocaust, that was definitely not a lifestyle you would. That was a lot of, eating people, sacrifices, and ugh. And a lot of trashing camera crews. All right, got 5 minutes. I will try to hold down the fort for 5 minutes. Yes, a dead air. So I guess in the meantime, I'll try to ramble on as much as I can and make as much sense as I can. I guess it'd be a good time to start plugging my stuff in the meantime. I do write stories, by the way. I just don't talk to people and, go off on tangents and, on weird stuff. First story would be No Strings Attached, which is available on Kindle right now. I will actually drop the link in the chat since I'm right here and still learning how to do all this shit. Oh, and apologies for all the swearing there, Shannon. Natural stuff here. I'll try to put on the mode I am when I'm around my nieces. I try not to swear around them. Make nonsense is the best sense to the senseless. Nonsensical. Yeah, I know, but it's not good to swear all the time. But yeah, I mean, swearing if you're trying to get your point across and in context, but if you just, use it in every single sentence, it does make it come off as a little uneducated. And for somebody who works in words, I want to be a little more creative with how I do it, even if I have to do like, cheesier stuff. Oh, fiddlesticks. You want to come on too? All right, fine. Let's keep this going. I'm going to be very, very late for the other thing, but hey, c'est la vie. And I'll put it in your Instagram DM. Actually, you know what? No, I'll text you it. What am I thinking? Bam. That is 2 invites. Let's see what we could talk about now. But anyways, like I was saying, yes, No Strings Attached available on Kindle. Midnight double feature, which features 2 stories, Lake Eliza and Morning Drive. One being more of the Lovecraftian Eldritch type, and the other just being a horrific car accident, if you want to know. Spoilers. All leading up to my upcoming novella, which will hopefully be coming out soon. It's still working through the editorial process as we speak. And this is called Skin Auction. Oh, okay. Well, I'll send it through Instagram. Double send. But yeah, Skin Auction. Action is my novella about it. centers around human trafficking, and I just make it into a terrible horror story. That's the best way I can describe it. I probably could do a better job at it, but I need to get better at, blurbs and stuff like that. One day when I have time. I mean, I think I did all right with my last two, but I'll leave that up to you. Hello.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the class?
Sure. I'm Shannon. I write under the pen name of SC Houston, and you can find me here on YouTube under the channel name of SC Houston. And I am 1/3 of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with Ben from Running to Write and Morgan Lee, and 1/2 of the AuthorTube Writing Conference duo putting on the AWC. And we do have like 8.5 days left if you want to apply to be on the AuthorTube Writing Conference and present anything about writing and or publishing.
Nice. Anything coming up right now?
I mean, I'm still doing accountability sprints every day of the week except for Friday. So they're very low key.
I've noticed. How are you doing today?
Good. I was on Nia's channel earlier doing scripting the book with House of the Dragon, and that was a lot of fun.
I was just waking up and getting everything ready, and that's when Sako. That's why I popped in, thumbed it up, got back out, and impromptu chat with Sako on her stream this morning. Now I'm doing mine. And now I'm doing another one. It's been a busy day when I should be resting, but hey, no rest for the wicked.
Yeah, I saw you in the stream this morning with Sako.
That already feels like it was yesterday. I need more coffee.
A lot of stuff happening. Yeah. Now, here in a little bit, I'm probably when you're getting done, it'll probably be about the same time I'm leaving out to go watch a movie with my son and my family.
What
Say
movie?
it faster. I'm assuming they mean my intro.
That was professional. I couldn't have done it that fast without stumbling over my words. So props, yo. I need to get better.
I've done it a few times.
Well, I opened my stream with a Chevy Chase line.
Oh yeah, which one? I didn't see the beginning.
Oh, it was SNL when he used to do the what do they call it? The news cast every week.
Oh,
good evening, folks. It's Chevy Chase, and you are not. Yeah. That's because I keep telling myself I'm going to work on a better intro, and I just never do it. It's like, oh, I write horror, whatever, meh.
I've heard a couple of your intros on other places. Whether I think it was on your channel, I heard one, and I thought, well, that was pretty smooth. I don't remember what it was you said now, but I remember thinking that.
I think I was trying to be creative and just break out of what everyone else is doing because I have to be weird. Oh, here we go. The third.
What's up?
What's happening?
Stuff is happening.
Talking.
Yes, we're talking.
Love all the blue lights.
I know, that was cool.
I had to get mine changing the color because that was just because of my yesterday video.
There you go. That's perfect for RC's channel.
Yeah, right. My color is purple usually, but I try to match the theme depending on what's happening. So
I'll rock purple.
yeah, it goes up. Actually, these are pretty cool because it dances to music too. So like if I put it on music like this, see, when I tap, it
Have a
picks
party
up
there.
all the sounds. So it's pretty cool.
Do you put it on when you're writing? And
Yeah, I usually have my lights down. I bought this like moon that changes colors too. Like, where is it? It's this thing right here.
Oh,
So this changes
my son
colors,
has that.
and then it's just like it just sits on your desk.
And like,
But-
is it a wooden base that it sits in?
Yeah, it has a little wooden base. And
Yeah, my
then
son has that.
Yeah, I love those. I love the moon though, and I bought like a new ring light for when I'm doing my recordings that also does its own color stuff too. So I was like, let me get these lights hooked up because I got that new series with the Mistress Moods and candlelight thing. So I needed some lighting power.
I remember back in the day, my friends would always have that shit under their cars.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
People still do that though.
Got
I
two
wanna-
12 got two 12s in the back winging across streets, changing colors. Kind of faded
wanted the
out
lights.
after a while though.
I
Yeah,
always wanted the lights under my car.
yeah. I see people still do it. Like they think in Maryland it's illegal. Like you'll get pulled by cops if they see you. PA you can. So some people from PA will be driving through here or whatever, and they'll be like, like if the cops see you, you're totally in trouble. You can't do that. They said it's too distracting in Merlin's law. So.
I think, what was it, like last October? I was up in the city, like on the far north side, and I want to get closer to downtown.
Yeah.
I was in the I was on the red line, but I don't like get on there because that's where like all the violence happens.
Yeah.
It goes from like top north side all the way to the bottom of the south side, right in the city limits. That's, fights, muggings and all that shit. And, so I took an Uber, and that was the first time I've seen those in like forever. A guy pulled up and just kept like flashing lights, wanging with the system.
Did I ever tell you I used to skip school and go to Chicago? I think I told you that when I first found out you lived in Chicago.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah. I was northwestern part of Indiana, and Chicago is 3 hours away. So I used to skip school with my friends, and we go to Chicago and spend the day there.
Shannon Houston's day off.
That's all right.
Did you jump on any floats, sing some Louie Louie?
No. Do you think I can sing? I'm tone deaf, or I'm partially tone deaf. There's no way that I am not going to hurt you if I sing.
I've seen weirder things in my day. I mean, Beethoven was deaf.
Yeah, but he composed music, not sung and sing it. Difference.
Still,
do we know?
Like,
do we know for sure if he sang?
Well, history did not record it, so
that's probably why he did.
Fill it in.
He probably did, but behind closed doors.
He can at least hum.
Probably. I mean, it's still amazing being deaf and producing what he could.
Right.
Very impressive. I'm just saying. Very impressive.
What did I see that just impressed the hell out of me? A jazz guitarist with crippling arthritis. I don't remember what he used as a slide guitar, but he can only use his thumb. And he can still slide and still hit the right notes while he's doing a solo. And it's like really old dude too.
Wow. That's impressive as well.
Yeah.
So whatever your boundaries are right now, whatever your limitations, they're not always going to be there. You can work at ways to advance them, to expand them.
There's ways.
Well, I made a bucket list when I was 9. One was write a book, which I've done that. And one was to take singing lessons. Haven't done that one yet, though.
I'm hit or miss. I don't practice enough with singing, but I can certain tones, certain, more mimicry. I don't have any kind of unique voice. Or like Pearl Jam, anyone could sing that. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, plenty of drunken karaoke nights not trying to do Pearl Jam. You're just pretty much talking to the mic when you're drunk.
I love the singing. Singing's fun. But I also recently had like a really, really bad case of like acid reflux, and it totally burned my vocals. It takes about 3 to 6 months to heal. Hence why I haven't been back on the writer's karaoke thing. Because I couldn't. Like, it's just starting to come back. I'm like, because I know, I hit notes and stuff, be singing in the car, like, well, that's not happening. Let's change the tone of this song. So, yeah, it takes a minute to heal. So that's fun. But yeah, I kind of miss singing because I even have a subscription to Star Maker where I record all my music and stuff. So
I say you sound professional here.
Yeah, okay. But it's like I was getting hoarse here and there. Like I would lose my voice for a couple months, so I wasn't like didn't bother my Mistress of Layer of the Mistress show because it's kind of deep and sultry anyway. So I was like, that's about all I can do. Can't do much else. The voice was gone, but thank goodness it's coming back because I miss singing. Like on my Star Maker thing, I was still singing nonetheless, whether it was gone or not. But still, it hurt me. I missed it.
I was more of the guitar player, backup vocalist.
I love guitar. Guitar is good.
Yeah, I've got mine sitting next to me. Got my acoustic and my Ibanez 7-string that I got when I was 17 because new metal was popular back then, and I wanted to sound like Korn and Fear Factory.
Of course, duh. I mean, I got my electric guitar still rolling out. But I have to get a new acoustic though because the neck cracked. So yeah,
I have a boyfriend who could play the guitar.
Yeah, guitars are good. I love guitar, but I think that's such. It took me time as I self-taught, but it's still like when I watch people play, especially they play something complicated like the ones with like the double neck or something like that. I'm like, look, Mr. Impressive.
So you want me to play something?
You can.
I still got to tune it. Strings are probably like 2 years old right now.
They're like, why didn't you tune us?
Make your next live where you play.
Let me practice for about 6 months before I get back to the. I am rusty.
That's
Well,
okay.
maybe the DL will be ready to sing by then.
Yeah, I probably would be. We could put something together.
Yeah, I can't sing through a whole song and play. My dyslexia kicks in. Well, that also I've never practiced it too much.
Do something real short. Something real short.
I'll do instrumentals.
Yeah, let's do the instrumentals.
But even then,
Come on.
I picked up guitar when I was 14.
Yeah.
I probably didn't apply myself as well as I should have, but I never wrote as much. I was better like playing other people's stuff. You know, the same with singing.
Yeah.
Never finding my voice on guitar or on my actual riffs.
Do you have to kind of figure out what your sound is? I can sing almost anything. I can pick up tunes and transitions and stuff pretty easy. Music always been easy for me. Just like languages have always been easy for me. But you kind of have to learn your sound and such. And I know I'm a more a cappella, so I sing without any instrumental, and I can carry high notes, but I would also can hit deeper tones. So it's kind of like you have to know your voice, and the best way to do that is to either change a song that you know to fit your voice and not worry about it sounding like the person's like vocals and transitions, or you write something yourself, which I've written like 2 short songs before. So it's kind of like when you write the song, it's kind of like poetry to me.
I was about to say that. I was waiting for you to pause, and I was going to say it's poetry.
It definitely is. So you kind of could just write something for yourself if it's you, something you're feeling, very emotional. Music is very emotional. So if you write something, you don't have to write it with the sound, because the lyrics, like the sound could be added later, and it can be also done vice versa, where there's just the instrumental and then you can add lyrics, and then or you could do lyrics and then add instrumental, which I've always been the lyrics then add instrumental to it. So but I did do with DL Stewart not too long ago, because he does rap, and he's going to do an album, and I did some with him. I wrote lyrics for one of his, for my portion of the song, and sang my portion that he was rapping, and I was just singing regular. So it's kind of like that. Like he had sound already, so I kind of put lyrics to the instrumental, which is usually, like I said, reverse for me when I do music. So. But you could do that, like just personal, emotional stuff works perfect for music and when writing music. Because I never learned to write music, so I don't read music or write music, but I always was a poet. So writing lyrics was not difficult because of the emotional stuff that's behind music in general. And people always are like, well, this music style over here sounds like noise, so it couldn't possibly mean anything, and that's not even true. It's like all music has some kind of meaning behind it.
Well, we all have a song to sing, however it may come out. Humans are very musical creatures because, it's emotional, it's spiritual, or as Shannon points out, it's very sexual.
Yeah, very much.
Very, especially stuff in the 70s.
Yeah, dude, like all the, like I just, I'm a metalhead, so all of the metal and rock songs from like back in the day, like all the old bands,
all the power ballads,
right? Like all the hair bands for sure, like all about sex, like, and then all the music, like literally all the R&Bs. My mom and dad would listen to R&B, rhythm and jazz back in the day, rhythm and blues, and all the music is about that. I'm like, all this music is about sex. What's happening? This is what everybody's talking about. Like, if you listen to lyrics and go back, it's like, wow. Yeah. Your parents would be like, you can't listen to this music because this music has cursing in it, or this music says this. I'm like, do you know your music is about having sex?
It's funny you say that because what was I listening to? I think I was listening to Snoop Dogg. Like my dad called me with the Doggy Style tape. And like it was like one of the lyrics talking about that. Like, see what he's doing to this woman. And I'm like, all right, you listen to Motown.
Right.
Same thing, just smooth talking her first.
Right. Come on now.
I love Motown though.
I used to teach college English and literature. In my literature classes I taught, I had to do a poetry section according to the college. And I always, would try to teach the elements of poetry. And then I had the students pick a song and break it down by the poetry, the poetic elements. And yeah, a lot of those songs you never knew. You're like listening to it. Well, for me, I'm partially tone deaf. So when I hear a song with words, I don't understand the words.
Right.
So seeing those words, and I was like, oh,
wow. Look what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this is embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, come on, something that's blatantly obvious. Let's get it on.
Straight up. They straight up
Yeah.
Listen to any Ed Sheeran song. Ed Sheeran knows, but he knows what's happening. Okay. Ed Sheeran knows what's going on. Like all his songs, like, listen, Ed, what you, my boy, always talking about something.
I understand why people like his music, but that music is just too damn saccharine. It's the only way to describe it.
You know, it's stuff for everybody, but I'm being a dancer. I listen to all kinds of music. So I'm a metalhead and an alternative rock person. I like all kinds of music, and I've always been into classical music. Like I have a lot of favorites from classical, and people would always look at you weird because if you're a metalhead, then you say like, "Oh, I love Tchaikovsky and I love that," and they're like, "What? Like you do know I'm alive. Like I can like different things. Like I don't have to just like one thing. Like heaven forbid I like one thing. Like what's the big deal? Like people are different. So
I would look to people like Cliff Burton, who was big into classical and musical composition.
Yeah.
And like the first metal band I got into was Metallica. So immediately I went, not only did I discover H.P. Lovecraft from them, but also like, Bach and stuff like that. Like, before, I liked classical music as a kid. Beethoven, Mozart. I went to the symphony a couple of times in elementary school and I was hooked.
Yeah, the music is very moving. Like I could listen for hours. And that's actually all I used to write. I'd be writing and I'd have instrumental, and violin and cello are my favorite instruments.
Right.
Symphony and Metallica. That's a perfect.
Yes, definitely, right.
Well, I wish they would have done that maybe in earlier 90s when Hetfield had more of his voice, but that's just me. He kind of went out early on, but whatever. He's still, selling out stadiums, $300 tickets, so whatever. He can sound however he wants. If he can still making that money. But you notice with metal, I mean, it's a lot of music, but metal in particular, at least the way the songs are set up or arranged, even without the, abrasive vocals or clean vocals, depending on how early you want to go back with metal, there is that classical kind of, vibe there, especially with instrumentals. I mean, back to Metallica, Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
9-minute, that's a classical piece.
Yeah, when you get to the guitar solos in the metal, it's always like, that's what I've been waiting for. Like,
yeah, and the change-ups, and it comes back to the original riff at the end of the song and close it out. I always love like compositions like that. Personally.
Yeah, definitely. And I was like, I don't know. I just think I like almost all types of music. There was somebody introduced me to some type of music. He was like, "Oh, check this out," and I was like, "I'm not feeling it." I was like, "I'm not feeling it." Like my brain wasn't working with it. It just wasn't. I was like, "It's cool that you like it, but I just not, my dude. Like I'm not feeling it." And he was like, "Well, I'm like, I mean, everybody like what they like. It's cool." I think he came across the music style in New Orleans somewhere. I forget exactly what they call it, but he was really into it. So he was like, check this out. And I was like, oh, I'm not feeling it. And I like a lot of stuff. And when growing up, I was like very much like I didn't like rap at all. Like it's because of the rappers that I heard, because I didn't like rap. But then like Eminem came around.
Oh, that's how I got into rap.
Because Eminem is very fast. And then I figured out recently, which was funny, that I like the certain kind of rap. It has to be fast. The vocals have to be, it has to be fast, and the words have to be like very layered and a lot of different things going on. I like Eminem rap because of how he raps, how fast he is, also the lyrics, like the words that he would use. So he would really mix it up. But then I did at the time, like in my early 20s, late teens, listen to a few rappers who were Japanese, because I was learning Japanese and then I was very into Japanese culture and stuff at the time. So I came across a few rappers who they're Japanese, so they rap in Japanese. And it sounded better to my ears. So I was like, okay. So I do like rap as well, but it had to be like in another language, because like English rap was like, like I did not like it at all. But then Eminem, I said like he was different. And then I came across a rapper who is Native American, And of course, me being Native American, I was like, let me check this guy out. And I checked him out. He's similar to Eminem, but he could go slower sometimes, but his sound is similar to Eminem's. They even did a song together. His name is Yow Wolf. And then
Yellow Wolf.
Yeah.
I met
Wolf.
him. He's a cool dude. He's from
He's so
Alabama.
Cool, right? He's so cool. Of course, you better, you get around with the.
Well, he was in Alabama. I got family down there in Huntsville.
Yeah. So I like his sound too. I actually can sing his stuff. Like I don't sing rap. That's the only thing I don't really do. Let's just like in Korean or Japanese. But I've done one of his songs on Star Maker, and I can actually hang with his speed. Eminem is a beast. So I don't even like. My mom's like, "Dude, Eminem." I'm like, "Are you crazy? Like he's a master, and no way I could pull it, right?" So he's too fast. Like I tried. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Then I came across this new kid on YouTube. He's a YouTube rapper, Connor Price. Connor Price is like, his sound is awesome. Like he looks for different rappers around the world. So he did one with a dude from Japan. He's done one with a dude from Germany. He's done one with somebody from Africa. He's done one with a chick from like India. So he like, that's what he does, because they didn't sign him. Nobody wanted him. All this stuff because obviously they like, you don't look like a rapper. So they were like, no, still with that whole spiel. So he's all right. So he made his own way. And then, of course, everybody wants to sign him after he takes off because YouTube, he don't need nobody, though. Like, in this world, you can go your own way, do your own thing with the technology we have now. You don't need nobody. You don't need nobody to sign you. You can put your own albums out. So he's making way more money over Fist without putting that middleman in to take half his stuff. So, like, he's doing way better. But Connor Price, like, you got to look him up. Like, he's awesome. Every time this guy put out a song, it's like bomb. And I'm like, okay, so I can get into rap because it has to be a certain type. And I'm really into that. I'm not into this, like, I'm talking about your butt and, I got to say this and that. I'm not talking about nothing. Like, I don't want to listen to your music if you're not talking about nothing.
You like speed rap. You ever listen to Tech Nine?
I don't know if I heard of Tech Nine.
He's from Kansas City. But he's underground for years. He's speed rap fast as hell, especially his older stuff.
I'll have to check him out, actually, because I'm always interested in speed rap because the fast is like really, really good.
Whoa. Don't. If you're going to go speed rap, you got to go with my local guy first, Twista. You check out his debut album, Adrenaline Rush. It is one of the greatest rap albums ever made. West Side Kid from right here in K-Town. Right. He's on the burbs right now, riding around his Lamborghini, probably right fucking now. But
he got a Lambo, huh?
I've seen him. My best friend lives out. It's like in the boony suburbs. He lives in the one next to him. We've seen him jetting around the cornfields a few times.
Yeah.
But Tech Nine, he also brings like a lot of rock and roll vibe to his rap.
That's cool.
And
I like the mixtures.
And like labels and like radio stations are like, well, and he also like does weird stuff with his hair. Well, you don't exactly like fit the image for our videos, and your tone isn't exactly black enough. He's like, all right, I'm gonna create my own label.
Exactly.
He started signing all, like, they're big right now. Like Strange Music is the name of them.
Strange Music. That's what you do. That's what I'm saying. Today's where you don't need nobody.
Yeah,
like if they try to tell you no, you make a yes. That's all there is to it.
I think 22 years ago. He opened up Strange Music, and now like they're heading in the underground.
That's cool. I like it. I'll check them out because always willing to hear some new music. All for that.
Now, country music, on the other hand,
well, even there, I found some music that my ears like. Like I did like Little Big Town's Tornado song. I have like a few songs from Tim McGraw. Who's somebody else?
It's funny.
Very specific songs.
With
Garth Brooks, of course. Yeah, like everybody knows Garth Brooks. Got a nice voice, so it's kind of like, it's like I'm not really into country, but again, I probably could find like music in every genre that exists.
Yeah, it's like the person is in the chat. I don't know if it's Adega. Is how you say?
Adega.
Adega. Okay. Yeah, it always makes me fearful about my dog's gonna die. Someone's taking my truck. So when I first joined the military, I lived in the barracks and I had to have a roommate. And she liked country, and it was her radio, so she played all the time. And one day she's like, "Do you mind me playing?" I was like, "It's your radio. Go ahead." She's like, "Yeah, but you live here with me." I was like, "If it's my choice, no, because everything's sad."
Somebody's breaking up or something.
It's like every song, yeah.
My
That
mom,
does happen a lot.
my mom listened to US 99, which is like pop country. Well, even back they played Garth Brooks. I like some of the songs, by the way, and all the poppy stuff. And I hated it. Oh, I mean, other than like I said, Garth Brooks, George Strait has some good songs because he catchy, all that shit. But otherwise, it was the same thing with Ed Sheeran. A lot of stuff just seems like real saccharine and just hit my ears or weird way. It's like I was gonna have diabetes or my teeth were gonna fall out. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was too thick, maybe. But anyways, until I started hanging out with my uncle when I was a late teen, and we'd be hanging out at this place drinking beers. And he said, put on some country music. And oh man, especially after a few drinks, put that shit kicker music on. And he was like, you never heard real country music, have you? What are you talking about? You met my mom. Crap, she blasts in the car all day. That's not country music. Throw on some like Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and like a lot of crazy outlaw stuff just about, getting in fights in bars, shooting people, and, being on the run. I'm like, I can get down with this. I don't know if it's just my dark, morbid nature or just an interesting story they were telling me.
I could not get into Johnny Cash, but when I heard the song, was it 9 Inch Nails? So he redid the song by 9 Inch Nails. When he did that, I was like, ooh, I love that. So I went to go look him up and his songs. I was like, no, I don't like those.
Yeah, Dealey is gone. What was I going to say?
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No, you're fine. I interrupt myself. Yeah. A lot of
you said you were listening to all the greats and like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson.
Oh, well, yeah, it had a story to tell, and I think that's what caught up with me. And it just wasn't like overly sweet ballads. That's probably a lot of it had to do too. And it wasn't just jumpy, let's square dance. And yeah, being in elementary school in the 90s, gym class, for some reason, every year or whatever, we had to do square dancing for a week.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Down in Miami, Florida, we had to do that. I was like, really? This is Miami. Why are we doing square dancing?
Oh God,
that's funny.
Yeah,
I used to have opinions about square dancing, really strong opinions, but if it makes you happy, and go for it. I'm happy for you folks. But I do like the country music with the dark lyrics, and there's actually this new guy that I came across. Let me look for his name. Coulter Wall. He's actually from Canada. What was this one song, Kate McKinnon? It's about him fall in love with a party girl, thinking she's not gonna, she's gonna stop fooling around and being crazy. Then falls in love with her and comes home, finds her cheating, and he shoots her. And it starts with him being in prison for the murder. Then he tells the story. It is such a, and the way he sings is so.
Sounds like country to me.
It is so haunting, like just the way he sings, and like
country people always with the listen, stop cheating on me. We breaking up this week. I'm sitting sad on my porch. Why'd you cheat on me? Like every time you turn around with the songs, like even when they get dark, it's like, look, y'all got a lot of cheating going on in the countryside. Like, what's going on there? Why is everybody cheating? Like most of the country songs that I know, it's like somebody was cheating.
Well, then you got rock and roll. They celebrate it.
Hey, they do. It's rock and roll. Like you heard that even with Nickelback, he'd be like, everybody's got a drug deal on speed dial. Like he telling the truth. That's why I didn't like him. He was like, listen.
You don't think country musicians look at the Johnny Cash? He was just pilled out for decades. Willie Nelson, the stoner king.
Yeah, I mean, it's just music in general. Music world. They're all like that.
There's actually a great story. Cops pull over this tour bus because it smells like marijuana smoke. This is I think, I don't know, maybe late 70s.
Cops confused about what goes on in the world.
Late 70s, early 80s. They pull over this tour bus smelling marijuana smoke.
70s, everybody was smoking marijuana. It's we're back to that again.
In Chicago right now, it's like freaking Woodstock. You just walk outside, it smells skunk. But back then, it was a little more strict. Cops pull them over. They open this bus and just a big smoke.
I bet all the smoke come out, right?
They're like, all right, somebody's got some stuff on this bus. And there's a bunch of country dudes, drinking beer, smoking, and no one has anything. They're looking, all right, and then they're just going deeper into this bus, and the smoke's getting thicker. They finally get to the back room, and they open it, and there's nothing. They just see a face in the clouds, and it's Willie Nelson with headphones, and they look at it. His face is glowing, and they look at the wall, and he's watching Wizard of Oz on mute. I guess he was listening to Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl while watching Wizard of Oz, trying to sync it up.
Sounds like Willie Nelson.
it hasn't been verified, but like Roger Waters from Pink Floyd brought it up, and he was like, "I don't want to know if it's been verified or not because I want it to be true and leave it at that."
That's pretty hilarious. I love it.
That sounds like one hell of a tour.
Yeah, I mean, got Willie Nelson in the back smoking.
I'll hang out for a few days on that bus. You know, I'm not a big fan of country.
It's Willie Nelson though, so
right. But at the same time, having family in the South and in rural areas, I've been at country bars. I've worked in horse barns, and for the most part, those people are really friendly. Just don't say the wrong thing.
I mean, that's usually the case when you go anywhere where there's like general mindset of like the way they think of things, especially if it's a small town or a city. If you go there and you start acting out, meaning not acting like them, you might get some looks or worse. The same. That's just how it is everywhere. It's just people mindset. That's just how it works. I'm like, I'm good. I'll stay home. So.
My best girlfriend in the military, she loved country. So we went to all these country bars.
Oh, my.
I remember thinking that was square dancing. Like we did it in Miami, right? I'm like, did they do this everywhere? But when I went to the bars with her, I was like, oh, there's like steps, like very specific steps to each of the dance. Yeah. Maybe that's why they teach it in school, because it's easy to teach those steps.
Probably. Am I confused? Is square dancing the same as line dancing, or are those different?
Yeah, I think it's the same. Oh, well, no, line dancing is shit. How do I explain this? From from left to right, square dancing, you move around a little more. You don't have to keep going on.
See, I was confused. I guess because I've done like the what you call it dance that was really popular, the giddy up, get up, whatever it's called. I did that, and I thought that was line dancing because we're in a line, but then we move besides in a line, so I assume it's not line dancing if you go back and forth and somewhat in a square. I don't know.
I think it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, self-explanatory. Like the line dancing, you go from side to side, stand on the line. With square dancing, you go in a square dancing around it. Maybe the way they look like you're dancing around a damn square at least.
Yeah, that's that.
You
too. Say you too. Bye. Oh my goodness, I don't know. Like I was confused about that. I don't.
Later, they go.
I don't know about line dancing and square dancing. I never learned that. I mean, I learned. My background was more like classical, like modern dance, and I did study some ballet, but then I went to like Middle Eastern dance after that, and then I did pick up pop and lock and.
Didn't you say you did belly dancing? Didn't you tell me you did belly dancing?
Yeah, Middle Eastern dance. Okay. So they just call it me dance. That's all. That's where it's from. But that Americans and like the Western world calls it like belly dance. That's where the term started because of that. But it's just like we call it me dance because Middle Eastern dance or whatever. But yeah, so that's why I started with that, because that's kind of resonated with me or whatever. And I kind of was looking into my culture, and then that's when I came across that, and then I started doing that. But then being from the Western world, I started fusing it with like Western stylization, such as like hip hop and urban fusion dance and that type of thing. And then goth fusion came into play because that's just more subculturally based. Because in golf clubs and stuff, it's not really much to that. But yeah, so like I never got that there was a difference between line dance and square dance. I was like, is there a difference, or are they just calling it two different things? Because people do that too. So I was like, I wasn't sure.
There is a difference. I don't remember what it is now.
I didn't think about it until we were just talking right now, because
I would imagine maybe it's different, and it's probably really basic. They do maybe dance in a line, and then they dance at least in a square.
And I know square dancing is a square. I do remember that.
Yeah, so maybe that's what. And one time I might have been doing square dance, and I like totally thought it was line dancing, and didn't know, because I swear I was moving in a square at least at some point.
So, Tillery, I'm wondering, your vast influences of different music genres. Do you think that's anything to do with being by a big city? Because I can blame that exclusively on that for like my palate.
I don't know. I think it's more. I mean, it could be for some in that scope. I mean, I'm from Maryland, so Maryland's a melting pot to begin with. They always call it like, it's the little version of America whole, because we just got everybody here, and then we surround with the DMV, so we're surrounded by that, like New York and Virginia in Detroit. I mean, I'm in DC, so it's kind of like us being like melting pot, mimic
In
of the
psychology,
country.
they call that openness. There is
Yeah.
a scale of being, so it's part of people's personality. They found that some people are more open to things and others are not.
Exactly. So that's all that is. I believe you were right about that, Shannon, because I think it's just a mindset. I think also upbringing. My parents was never like, even though we were Christian, my mom was never like, well, you can't like this thing, especially when she got to a certain age. And she was kind of like, well, when I hit 12, 13, and I could branch out and whatever music I wanted to listen to, I could listen to. That's when I was introduced to corn, and it was like the sound that I wanted. I could go ahead and listen to. So I had been hearing nothing but R&B and like gospel the entire time from birth to like 12. But I knew what I liked because I was allowed to play video games somewhat. I didn't own any until I was probably around 11, but I played them since I was little. And you could hear different types of music in video games at the time when they used to put music on video games. Yeah. And so I could hear classical, I could hear alternative rock, I could hear all these different styles of music. And you already kind of know, like, I think your soul kind of sings to you, your spirit sings to you, like, it knows what it likes, and everybody's different. And it's not necessarily always about.
We're all musical, though.
Hmm?
We're all musical creatures, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we kind of know what we want, and I don't necessarily know if it has to do, per se, with where you're located at, for sure. Because if I was going to go where I was located, certain things probably wouldn't be the case for myself, even though my parents tried to keep it where we were really around a mixed culture of different people and stuff like that. Being mixed myself, it's still like, I don't think it was that, like, being in an environment makes a difference at the end of the day. Even though it can affect you to some degree, I still think inside you kind of can know what you like, and that could go across the board. Well, I just think that's the case. You know what I mean?
I that to an extent, but I was meaning more of like accessibility, especially before pre-internet days, where, like, we can have this stuff at our fingertips. Like, I know certain places had like scenes, like, like New York, LA, San Francisco, and like.
But again, I still growing myself. I only can speak from my personal experiences. Like, I only heard R&B. I only heard gospel. I was only raised this specific way, but just because I heard that, or just because I was, shown this or that, it didn't mold exactly who I was. Like, it wasn't like I was going to hear this other type of music and be like, ew. Like, I don't like this because I was directed and only allowed to hear or be around certain things or cultures and stuff like that. So even with that setting, I think it's still something you just going to resonate with. Now, you don't have to listen to your resonation. Like, you can resonate with something and then be like, I better not do that. But you still resonated with it, whether you want to admit it or not. So I don't necessarily think that even if you didn't hear it, you probably will at some point in your life. Like, once you become an adult, once you get to your teens, you're a little bit more easier to get into stuff that you might, never have heard before. Then you resonate. Once you hear it, you kind of know. And it happens with everything, at least as far as my upbringing, because I was kind of like secluded. I was kept home. I wasn't around anything. So I didn't get to hear this stuff. So it wasn't like I heard it until I got to like my early teens. But then I resonated with that thing. I wasn't against R&B, and I wasn't against like gospel and stuff like that. But it was kind of like, okay, that's what music is. That's what this is.
Okay.
And then when I heard rock,
go. So,
right.
I did want to say, I'm a combination of both you, RC. I grew up in Miami, so I was exposed to a lot of music. At home, I only could listen to rock and roll. We could only listen to what my dad wanted to listen to, and that was always rock and roll. So I would have never known any other music if it wasn't for my friends that I went to school with. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
You want me to introduce you to more music? I know a lot.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Hey, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Yeah,
I just think that I think it might just be resonation. I think you just resonate with what you resonate with. But I totally get what you're saying. And it could definitely be a thing for some people. But it just that didn't apply to the way I end up liking things. And that was even my like attraction to certain males. I didn't like, I was around when I grew up, the neighborhood I grew up in like off of Baltimore City. We weren't in Baltimore City. We were like lower counties now it's considered. But the area we grew up in started off, it was Jewish. And by the time I was of any kind of age to recognize people, it already had turned like it was all predominantly African American descent and also some mixed people in there. So the areas changed. So I was predominantly, that's what I was around. And people always say, oh, you're just going to be attracted to what you're around and what you see, that type of setting. But that wasn't really true. It's not always true. I still think it's something that you just like. It's just a fact. This is how it works. The first dude I was ever attracted to as liking was Korean. And I was 8. And I went in the corner store and saw this boy, and he was not 8, by the way. He was like probably 13, 14. And I was like, wow. So it's kind of like, I think in those instances, people always say like, what you around and what you hear and the blah, blah, blah. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to be the case. So it's kind of like, I think you just inside, you're who you are already. And you're just going to have to, like, you grow into who you are, but it's already in there. So you're going to, the experiences that we have and stuff mold us into who we end up being. Yes, but I think it's in there already because of the brain. And if you believe in a soul and things like that, I think it all kinds of resonates into what you like. Because it's kind of like when we taste certain foods, because our taste buds, we all have taste buds, but we all don't like the same stuff. Our bodies and everything in it works together to make who we are. So we kind of like, you taste something somebody else likes, and you're like, ugh, this is terrible.
Well, that's how I've always felt about bands like U2, even though Adega didn't meet it in this way. When he talks about bands that never really resonated with me, and I never understood the liking of such music.
When I see that,
and it is Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It's funny you mention about seeing somebody older first time and having a predilection.
Yeah.
I do remember being, I'd say, 8 years old, 9 years old in a record store and seeing a little bit older lady, probably late teens, early 20s, run by like the Ministry, Skinny Puppy, KMFDM, wearing all black, dark hair, mean look in her eyes. And that's when I kind of realized, something's there. But
it's a destination. I think it's just that's how it is,
Yeah. I'd not to mention, she reminded me of the ladies I'd seen some of my vampire movies I'd watch at home. Maybe there was a combination there too.
It might be.
But I think that's where I was lucky because, I wasn't really like forbidden to like list, like consume things, other than like, super sexual or like something horrible. Yeah. I can listen to what I want to, and it was disapproved of, but exactly like forbidden. Maybe like, gangster rap when it first came out, but like after a while,
like, I don't like to listen to that, but I'm not going to stop you from listening to it.
But then again, I can just walk outside and there's everything in front of me.
Right.
In such a big, I know Baltimore and all that, it is a melting pot, especially over in the East and all that. But Chicago, it's the land of everything. There's every neighbor, well, maybe not every single neighborhood you can imagine, but like you just walk from one block, it could be a Polish town, it could be a Ukraine village, all Hispanic, all black neighborhoods just right next to each other within, a few blocks, which has caused some problems over the decades. But,
well, because it's still even like it depends on if it's mixing. If it's sectional, if it's sectioned, then there's going to be some issues. And if it's mixed, meaning they live together within the same like neighborhoods and stuff like that. Maryland, we kind of do that until we get out into the boonies where they're specifically trying to run to make sure that they stay segregated as much as possible. Well, so it's kind of like that. But I don't like areas like that because people act like a fool.
And that's one thing about, the politicians in Chicago, despite what they may say, they do like to segregate.
I mean, it's human. It seems to be humans in general do that to some degree. And I don't want to be a part of any segregation thought process. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, you can just keep that. Like, if we don't all mix together, like, we all humans, and y'all confused about what's supposed to really go on here. Y'all got nothing else to do besides try to separate each other. So it's like, I don't want to be part of that.
What I always did, I just go through every neighborhood. And
because you don't have no wrong with it.
You know, like a lot of times by myself too, which is probably dangerous as a kid.
Hey,
But what I would like introduce to so much fucking music, like so
right.
different foods,
I
different
think it's
people,
healthy for the mind to be introduced to different cultures and different music, different foods and stuff, which you call it their cultures.
and
But
I
like,
never,
I think it's good.
I kind of limited myself younger, but like as I got older, I expanded it more. Like,
Yeah.
one weekend I'm like, I want to go to a jazz club, or I want to go to
Yeah,
Gibson's,
jazz, man.
Gibson's Buddy Guys club over downtown. Maybe I want to check that out the other weekend, or maybe I want to see my friend's goth band the weekend after that. Oh, my
Right.
buddy's DJing after that. Oh, there's a
Don't
metal
limit
band playing.
yourself. Don't
There's a
limit
punk
yourself.
band playing. There's a country band playing. Is it pop country? Yeah. All right, forget it. No, that's then you got all the
It's a
local
pop
smut.
culture country. No.
Yeah, no. Now you
I
got
went to a bluegrass like event twice before because I was a belly dancer at the bluegrass event.
Right.
And it was like Shake More or something they called it. And it was all the bands were bluegrass. And I was like, it was like, you think some of y'all could like belly dancers? I was like, I could try, but like bluegrass though. I wasn't really into bluegrass. I'm not into bluegrass, but like, hey, I still got to hear it though. So as long as I can know with music, I'm willing to like listen and see if I like it or not. But I can tell almost right away if I'm into it or not. So
I used to when I was living out in the boonies, working at a horse stable. My cousin would drag me to this country bar. It was a big place. It was like I guess it was a stable arena, and they just converted it, put a stage in there. Now, if you like the music, it's probably wonderful. And I'd be just sitting there on a homemade bench, slamming beer after beer, watching these people line dance. Trying to get that sour look off my face, wearing all black, because I have to be me.
Hey, you have to. You better.
Then I had this guy sit next to me. He's like, "You don't really like this music much, do you?" I'm like,
I guess you can tell from your face.
"Fuck!" Oh, by this place,
I wasn't hiding it.
I
wasn't hiding it.
Well, then he showed me the door. Turns out I was the owner. All right. Well, if you don't like the music, let me just show you out then, son.
Let me show you the door there.
Yeah. Here, you can take your beer with you. I don't mind.
That's hilarious. I can't.
You know what though? Like, and he was really polite about it too. He could have definitely, and he was a big guy. He could have easily grabbed me and threw me out.
Hey, let him stay. You gotta like the music,
like
the dancing.
There is a difference between street scrappers and some of them country boys. You know, they'll like just, crush your head like it's nothing.
That's true.
If you let them catch you.
As long as I can run fast, I'm safe.
Well, I mean, stick and move. Just hit the right places and make sure you don't break your hand in doing
sticky
so.
Sticky move, yeah.
I'm not saying I've gotten in a bunch of fights with some of these people, but some of them are like Colossus, where their skin's like steel. It feels like
they are Colossus. That's true.
You think you're about to go into a jaw with a full hit, and all of a sudden you're coming back and your knuckles are already swollen up, turning purple like that.
Like the jaw of iron.
Then it's like, all right, I'm about to take this hit.
Oh man.
On that note, I'm gonna get ready for this other stream, which I'm late for. But whatever. Thank you for coming on. You know, it was cool shit. We gotta do our own stream and like chat horror and stuff.
Heck yeah.
And
my soul is ready. He's ready to join. So.
As long as the lights are on. For anybody who's out there still listening, maybe in the future, would you like to do an outro for yourself?
Sure. I am author DL Tillery, the Mistress of Horror. You can catch me over on my channel and just talk about all the horror things, my writing journey, and everything in between. If you haven't seen or read any of my stuff, then you can check out my 2 short horror tales, The Room Within and Fractals. They're available on Amazon. If you have Kindle, it's actually free through Kindle if you have a subscription. So that's always fun too. And then keep a lookout because I do have a lot of stuff coming for this year, at least probably 4 novels, because Cagliostro Tale Liberto will be out in the summer. Then it's going to be Boom Boom after that with my horror collection, which is based around Cagliostro's world, and my poetry romance dark collection that will be coming out as well. And then another little tidbit that I have, the secret is this. It's a sequel to The Room Within. And people are like, how does it have a sequel? Especially what happened at the end of it. I'm like, because horror. So anyway, check me out over there. You can find me on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that social stuff. You can find me in all those places. And like I always say, stay scared.
Always stay scared.
Yes.
This is R.C. Scott. I write horror and all types of dark fiction. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, not TikTok, YouTube, which I will be doing regular streaming, and also in the future maybe record a podcast with some of my musician buddies. Coming soon, Substack newsletter / blog / interviews where I'll be doing some ranting, raving, wax philosophical, wax weird, trolling England on account of my buddy Richard Holiday, and also doing legit interviews with musicians who have upcoming tours and albums coming out.
Nice.
Otherwise, I'll be working a lot and trying to do other things. Let's see how much time, motivation, inclination, and life I have left in me by the end of the day. Until then, y'all be easy, stay hydrated, and be safe out there.
See ya.